off. All right, so this is welcome to another episode of the Friendship and Stupidity podcast. It's been a while since we've actually done an official intro like that.
Which wasn't really official.
No, I'm Andy.
I'm Isaac.
For a second, I really thought, like, oh, did I say my name wrong?
No, I had to do a dramatic pause. And I also have to wake up. I'm like, for whatever reason, I didn't do a lot today. But my body is like, hey, you're tired.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can feel like my eyes are just like, they're just like slumped over.
Yeah.
But like I said, I didn't really do that much different, I guess, than normal. So I don't know.
I've been in a weird kind of funk today.
Okay.
I don't really know what it is. I'm just like, well, I mean, maybe it's just been all week. I just haven't been like very motivated. I think it's like the end of the year kind of like get me the fuck through this. Like we have like 3 weeks left until we have like an actual long break or a longer break. But I was also off for like all of last week because I was sick. So I think that also is taking its toll.
Well, that very well could have, yeah, for sure.
I mean, I'm much better now. It's just I feel like trying to catch up and get things done because like I actually have a project that I'm working on now that's like it needs to get done, and I just took like a whole week off. Yeah. So it's I'm in a weird state, and we're
I feel like we both have been like since because we both got sick relatively at the same time, and so then I went silent because I was sick, and then you went silent because you were sick, and then the holidays happened, and then we both were like, man, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I feel like we're kind of back to our old selves with not having a episode recorded to like a buffer episode.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's really funny. I put on my Instagram story that one of my friends, Seb, that we mention every once in a while, his number one podcast on Spotify was Friendship and Stupidity.
I also know somebody whose number one podcast was Friendship and Stupidity. Both I believe my roommates and I think we mentioned her before on the podcast, but one of my roommate's friends that she still keeps up with, who lives a couple of states away, Michaela. She awesome. Also had, which then awesome. She told Shayna too. She was like, "I feel like I really know Andy from the podcast, and I feel like we're friends." And I was like, "He's gonna love that. Yeah, he's gonna love to hear that." That's
incredible.
Yeah, but hers also was number one. So I was like,
I feel like that's a really good thing, like because that's what Seb has said too. He's like, I don't know anything about Isaac, but I feel like we're friends. Yeah,
well, that's because I feel like we don't hide who we are.
Yeah.
And I've told my roommate that a few times too, where I'm like, if I'm meeting new people, I don't hide. For what I say on the podcast, that's pretty likely what I would say to somebody the first time I met them.
Yeah.
That's not a good thing, but they'll at least know me.
I think it would be the only time I really kind of hide who I am anymore is whenever I'm working. Like at least if I like my coworkers, I don't really hide it, but like the clients that I talk to, obviously I can't just start talking about puss and like getting drunk and like smoking. Yeah. I think it depends on the person though. I think like you quickly figure out in the business world that no one gives a shit, and you can really just talk about anything with anyone, which is pretty cool. But at the same time, it's like I don't know if I like this.
Yeah, it's weird because I feel like in a business sense, you'd almost be like, I feel like somehow this is going to come back.
That's what it is to me. Like whenever I first started, I started to realize that that's how a lot of people are. How it's just like you can say anything to anyone, but then I realized like, man, I really probably shouldn't have said some of the things that I've said.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And that's a good segue, because I spent like, I didn't tell anyone that I worked with about the podcast other than Seb, of course. But he also got fired, so
yeah, at that point,
it doesn't really matter. He got laid off, I should say. He didn't get fired. I finally decided, I'm just gonna put this on my story. I have a lot of people that follow me that I work with, but I don't care. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
If they want to listen to it, it's fine. And I'd already been talking to one of my old coworkers, and he texted me. He said, "So you have a podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah, I see you saw my story." Then I told him about like how you and I just decided to do a podcast, and I didn't really like explain what it was about, because I mean,
it's not about anything.
We don't know what it's about.
Yeah.
And the best thing about this, he's the person that brought up the sandwich versus salad conversation.
Son of a bitch.
And he said, he said, "So you have a podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah, I talked," and then I told him about it and whatever. And he's like, "So what episode is the salad versus sandwich conversation? Because I know you've talked about that."
And you said, "Oh, we've talked about
yeah.
it. We've talked about it in too much fucking detail."
And then I listened to half of that episode, because I wanted to if he wanted to like get right into it, I wanted to see like when we started talking about it. But he was like, "I'll just give it a listen. I'll listen to the whole thing, whatever." It was only like a 40-minute episode, so it was one of the shorter ones whenever we first started. But I think that I'm trying to think of like what the best way to say this, but you and I, the friendship that we have, it just involves you bringing something up, or I in this situation, it was me bringing it up, and then me explaining it, and then you just hating me for for the way that I bring it up.
Yeah.
Because, and it's the same with like every other conversation that we have. Like whenever I brought up the fact that I thought that there were aliens because of like all of the UFOs that were being shot down. And you were sitting, I mean, I didn't know, because we were doing it virtually. You were like sitting there and you're like, "Andy, you sound so fucking insane right now."
Oh yeah.
And I'm like feeding into like your like because you had just brought up like you seeing a UFO or what you thought was a UFO, and I'm like trying to feed into it like, "Yeah, you might have actually seen a UFO," and you were just sitting there like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
Well, yeah, because you were on some nonsense.
But it was still, I don't know if you can, what?
Yeah, it was nonsense.
What do you mean?
It was nonsense because it was the sightings that like everyone saw. It was that like the.
So you hate it because it's mainstream. You
hate it
because,
I want the real stuff.
You weren't the only person to see.
Yeah, like I don't like those like. Have you seen like the little white bodies they found in Mexico that they're like mummified?
I've heard about it, but I didn't really look into it because very much like what you're about to say. It's just like it's just going to be another thing of like that's just proven.
Well, yeah, and that's what I mean. And there's been so many times now at this point where like they've openly talked about it and they've openly said, "Yeah, we don't know what a lot of this stuff is." And anytime I try to bring that up with anybody, they're just like, "It's probably not real." I'm like, what? I'm like, they literally have like meetings about this. Like they're literally like at the top level of like I was gonna say like Congress meetings, but like they are, and no one, and everyone's just like, so
I don't understand.
So then I feel like everyone's gaslighting me. I'm like, this is a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
Like I try to bring it up and people are like, "You're an idiot." I'm like,
at this point, I think it's like the fucking movie Don't Look Up, which I just watched again. It came out at the beginning of the year. It's the Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence movie.
Okay, yeah. About the world ending.
Yeah, and like everyone just like hearing the announcement and they're just like, you're full of shit. And I just like, it's so true.
Yeah.
Like the way that people react to things, like someone could literally say like, or I mean, I guess you can't say it. Like they could literally show on like televised some sort of news network, like this is 100% proof of aliens, and then like they would just be like, nah, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, they're like there's like no refuting it. Whatever it is, like it's 100%, and they're just like, what does it change? Whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, sure, what does it change? But like at the same time, like,
it pisses me off.
I'd be freaking out.
Yeah, it pisses me off. I'm just like,
you're not even pissed off. You're not even freaking out. You're just pissed off.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, look, I don't care if we're getting visited at this point. Like, you're just an asshole now because you're just like,
I just think it's really ignorant to think that like no one's even like that there isn't anyone that's even visited. Like there has to have been someone that visited.
For sure.
But then to say that they don't even exist as well. I'm not saying that people are stupid, because you can believe whatever the fuck you want to believe. I mean, like there's people that out there that believe in Bigfoot, which, I mean, that's true.
I was gonna say, what are you talking about, Andy?
Yeah, he's right there.
Yeah, what are you trying to say?
If that's in the shot.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
There's a few things. I think it cuts off at Homer.
I think it does too. Homer was drawn and painted by my roommate's sister.
Yeah, which is very impressive.
Yeah, I don't even remember how long ago I've had that now.
You've had it for a while, because I think you had it at your second apartment.
Did I have it at second apartment?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay, and I hate that. That's how like I know my apartments now. I don't remember them by their address. I remember them as first, second, third apartment, because I've just referred to them so much.
Do you remember like the names of them though?
Yeah, it's a struggle.
Yeah,
it is very much a struggle, because anytime I told people that I went to Kent, they'd be like, "Oh, where did you live at? Did you live on a dorm? Did you live at apartments?" And then I would have to remember my heart just to be like, no, here. No, here. This was second apartment. And then I will sometimes say like, "Oh, my second, second apartment." And I'm like, they don't understand what second apartment is, because they never visited there. So then I got to explain where, and I got to remember the name of it.
You lived in an apartment, or you lived in a dorm just your first year there.
Yes, sir.
So, and you lived in one of the dorms that you just had your own bedroom, and you shared a common area with one other person.
Yeah, exact. Common area, aka just a hollow room.
Yeah, like
pretty
the
much.
size of like half of this room, basically. It wasn't much. So you never did you ever have like any experiences with anyone else on the hall? Like anything weird?
I did get the security call to my room one time.
Okay.
That might have been the weirdest thing ever. But I mean, weird experiences? No, not really. But after a while, my roommate didn't even live in that room. Like the room that was connected to that shared hallway, he didn't even live there. So then that shared room just became my area.
You just moved your bed in there.
No, I literally moved my desk. I moved my dresser, moved the mini fridge, all that just moved that into that room, because I was
because the bedrooms themselves were big enough for your bed and then your desk. They were small.
If that, yeah. I was going to say, they really wanted you to loft him up. But yeah, so after a while, I realized that he wasn't even, because I think he was in a frat. And I was like, I don't care. I'm just going to take that over. And even then, after a while, he would maybe occasionally stop him. But after, he just moved all of his shit out. So I was like, yeah, I don't care. I'll literally
I think it's really funny when people do that. When they join a fraternity and then they just I'm sure that there's room in the house, in their frat house, but I was also in a fraternity and there was no room in the house. The best you could probably do would be the attic, or not the attic, but the very top of the house. So I mean
almost the attic.
Yeah, almost the attic. And and when you had that, it would be a mattress on the floor, which, I mean, when you think about a frat house, you kind of think of that anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
There were I will say there were some people in my fraternity or in other fraternities too that just like really took care of their room. Like they were like, all right, I live in a frat house, but like my room is gonna be like spectacular. Like I'm gonna take care of it, and it's just gonna be spotless. Which was a nice like change of pace or whatever. But there was one guy that lived on the first floor of the first house that we had. I feel like we're kind of like going off track, but that's okay.
That's literally us. Just like any other episode, we had no idea what we're going to talk about. Yeah, we never fucking knew.
In the in that episode that I was talking about, the sandwich one, we started the episode saying something about like we have no idea what we're talking about, and also like we are never going to get on a schedule. That was like one of the first things.
And that's kind of funny because, I mean, yes, we still have not figured out what we're going to talk about, but we did get on a schedule. We did have to break it though. I think just after being sick and the holidays, that little funk, we just needed to, I don't know, just get it out of our system, I guess. But then we have already planned that we're gonna make sure we're getting other recordings done, and we're gonna be good to go.
I think with this week, I was like, or this recording, I was like just worried that I wasn't going to have like any like motivation to talk about anything, just because like there is no buffer right now. So it's like we do this episode and then immediately we're gonna have to put it out.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. There was just like a feeling that I had that was like, oh man, like I'm gonna do this episode. But as soon as we get back, or even like right now, like I'm in it. Like, I'm having fun. I think it was like partially like the drive over here and like trying to think of something to talk about, even though like we always have something to talk about.
Well, yeah, because we're pretty good. As much as we don't like, as much as we talk to each other, we still. How do I want to say that? I want to say this without sounding completely idiotic. It's not going to work, though. As much as we talk to each other, we don't really talk to each other. Does that make sense? Like, we talk to each other pretty consistently, but like whenever it comes to podcast stuff, we don't talk about the podcast until it's podcast time.
I feel like we've had this conversation a lot, but I think it's like really easy now that we've been doing this for so long. It's really easy to separate the like podcast stuff from just like regular conversation, which I do feel like over break, like whenever we like go back to our like respective homes, we don't talk to each other, and it's like partially,
we got so much shit going on.
Well, yeah, but partially it's like we want each other to like enjoy their families and whatever, but then at the same time it's like I don't know what the fuck to talk to you. Like, what are you doing back home? Like, I'm sitting around. I'm like running around like with my head cut off.
Yeah, exactly that. Or like I'm just sitting at home just watching TV. Like I don't do jack shit when I'm home. Like I literally bring so much stuff to do, but then whenever I'm home, I'm like I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do jack shit. And then also, don't know what made me think of this. Gonna go really off the rails. I heard a word the other day, Andy, and I was like, that's an incredible word.
Okay.
My issue is I'm blanking on it right now. It's like it's there, but I don't think it. I think I remember the word.
What was the context? When did you hear it?
I was playing my game, like a new game that I bought. I was playing it. And they said, like the narrator said it. I was like,
what game?
The game that I'm playing now is called Total Warhammer 3.
Okay.
Total Warhammer 3. Sorry. But the narrator was saying it like on the opening cutscene or something, and I just remember I completely just disregarded what he was saying, and I said, "Oh," I'm like, "That's a good word." Like, I got so sidetracked by the word. I think it was cacophony.
That is a word, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know what it was, but as soon as he said in his voice, he's like, it was a cacophony, and I was like, oh.
I think it also like the voice and like the accent really helps with it too.
Mm-hmm. And there was like thunder crashing in the background too, and I was like, that's a great word. Like I said, I completely sidetracked myself in that video game. Like I was like, I don't give a shit about anything that's going on. Cacophony, great word. I was like, oh.
Well, I think people really disregard voice acting a lot when it comes to games, because like you could have a really like strong character, like you can have a really cool looking character, but just have like the most dog shit like voice acting, like Connor from Assassin's Creed 3.
Yeah,
like I thought he was a really cool character, but the voice acting was just so bland and boring.
Yeah.
But on the opposite side, there's well, I just thought of another one, but that character from Dark Souls 2 that's just like a blob of like magma and fire. That's like,
oh yes,
like every single time he popped up, I would always skip through like the voice or like the conversation, but I had to listen to what he was saying.
Yeah, every time that guy did pop up, you were like, oh.
I would be like, all right, stop a minute. I gotta listen.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta figure out the lore of this.
Yeah, exactly. Just for that one guy. Which that's another thing that we could talk about, because we obviously like to play video games together, and so I've currently got you on my favorite series, Dark Souls. And so we're playing through the games of that because there's a way that you can play through the game with each other, which a lot of people don't know. Like, let me see, Joe and John, they both were like, you can do that? And I was like, yeah. And like, even when I told people, I had like, whenever I worked at GameStop a long time ago, I was like, hey, you can play with your friends. And they're like, you can do that? I'm like, no one realizes that you can do that in those games, which is wild to me. But
well, I think a lot of people talk about how hard and annoying that game is.
Exactly.
And then they don't realize you could just play with other people, like the same exact way that you play, like when you summon other like spirits or whatever you want to call
and
them.
It makes it 10 times easier, like literally 10 times easier.
Well, and so there's in like Dark Souls 1 was very much like it felt like a solo game.
Yeah.
And like I think we may have played together like once or twice.
Yes, like maybe I maybe showed you an area, but like I felt very confident that I could just be like, no, this is where you need to go, without even being in the game. I was like, no, you need to go here.
And with Dark Souls 2, I was like very much ready to like tap out. It wasn't even like, it just like got to the point. It's a very different game. That's all I can really say, because it's not like because at this point, like as we've played, I think I've gotten really good at the game, but there just gets there's a different dynamic of like, one, like the enemies stop spawning, so you can't farm anymore. There's also like kind of on my part like being dumb, like I didn't use a shield the whole entire game, which is kind of like, when you think about it, like really fucking stupid.
It's a little rough, yeah.
And also like I started the game without like hearing like what like from you like what I should like take and whatever, or like what the best like classes or whatever. I just like jumped right into it, and it's just like probably the not the best idea.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could have made it easier for you, but like I don't fucking remember where I was going.
I mean, I didn't really know where I was going either. It's just a very different game compared to the rest of them.
It definitely is. But I know, I know with this one, for sure. I mean, like I said, we like to play games with each other, and we usually have a good time. I think with this game, there were so many days where we're like, do you want to play? You know, I think I kind of do. And then we get 10 minutes into it, and we died like 1,000 times, and we were like, all right, dude, I'm just going to call it right there. And we were done within a half an hour.
Progress.
Yeah, because then we would just get like frustrated at the game with each other, and we were like, all right, dude, I got to get off. Like, I'm going to lose it. Like, I'm literally just going to flip out. I can't stand it anymore. And I don't know. I feel like there's been no other game so far that we've done that with, but it every time I look back on it, it's made me laugh because there's been so many times in that game where we would play it for like 10 minutes and we were like, okay, that's it. Because we would like build it up. We're like, all right, we got to do this. We got to do this. And then as soon as we played it, we tried one thing. It failed miserably. And we're like, all right, that's it. See you next week.
That's how I was like, even like whenever I was playing alone, there were a few times where I was like, you know what, I'm going to just give this boss a try. And I would get on there. I'd try the boss like once or twice, and we're like, no, I'm not letting Dark Souls have me today.
Yeah, and that was literally the last time we played because we still have 2 more bosses we have to do. One of them is in the worst, absolutely worst area of the game.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, and it sucks ass. And by the end of it, I know I was like, no, I'm fucking done. I can't stand this.
We tried that boss, and then there was a we could either play the other boss, which they're all optional. We could either play the other boss and have like a huge side effect on us, or I could run through get all these knights, and then we'd make it easier. But you must have been on the phone with Shayna or your roommate or something, and because you weren't talking or something, and it was just quiet, and we went into this fight and it was going fine, and then you died, and I was just running around the arena getting wrecked, and then I think I came back and you were just like, all right, I'm done. We got to take a break.
There's something about that game in particular where my fuse is so short where I'm like, I can't do it.
It's good though. It's good to have a short fuse with that because otherwise the first time I played it, that's how I was. I just kept dying to the same. There was a part where I could fight one boss. I could fight 3 bosses, and I tried fighting all 3 of them in 3 separate occasions, and could not make any progress. And I wasn't looking anything up either. I was I maybe looked up a few things, but I was like, that's gonna take too much time. I'm just gonna try it another way. And I just kept failing, and it was just the other hard part is always not dying by the boss, but having to run back to the boss room. Because if you don't kill the enemies, they will continue to spawn, and then sometimes if you don't have the right run pattern, they'll just wreck the shit out of you, and you'll have to use a heal, and then you're going into the boss room, and sometimes you get into the boss room and the boss is right there ready to fucking smack the shit out of you.
Yeah, it's a what do we want to call it? It's a fucking ridiculous game. We'll call it that.
Call it what we see it. We see it.
Yeah, pretty much. I just thought of something else. Even not to do with video games, but along the lines of us, talking to each other, and us talking but not really talking. Since it's been so long since it happened, and we didn't do an episode last time. You came over and we watched scary movies. Finally.
We did.
Finally. And we watched one good movie, and then the other one, it was not as good the second time I watched it. I was like, wow, this... I guess I shouldn't say that. I liked parts of it. I think it's a movie where you have to watch it and you have to really you have to invest yourself in it.
I think when you compare it against so we watched Paranormal...
Yeah, no. Go ahead.
You wanted me to say it.
Come on, you got it.
We watched Paranormal Activity,
there you go.
the first one, and then we watched Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, classics at this point.
Yeah.
Blair Witch, definitely a classic.
Yeah. I thought Paranormal Activity, I don't know why I can't, my cheeks get stuck in my mouth, and I can't
your cheeks get stuck in your mouth.
Yeah, and it's just the way that they're flexing, they're going in and out.
Maybe if you brush your teeth twice a day, that they won't get stuck.
Maybe if I just suck some more dick too.
Jesus Christ. Fuck.
Anyway,
maybe, I don't know.
That was
to test it out. You had to go on Columbus suck
Freaks.
dick groups.
Columbus Freaks. Yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't make it dick sucks.
No.
Yeah.
No, they got to be at least a little bit safe for work.
You think?
I went. There was a time in my college career whenever when I think I have a picture of this in my Snap memories. One of my friends.
You need to get to this point quick because my mind's racing right now.
One of my friends went on his computer on Craigslist and just typed in like big boobs, and it was a post that said, I am looking for, it was like almost like broken English. It was like, looking for big boobs, please oblige, or something. It's crazy how like prostitution is illegal in most places, but you can just put on Craigslist, I'm trying to have sex, or I want big boobs.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but like, that's not prostitution. I mean, where do you draw the line? Because like,
I would say when there's penetration.
Is that how is it? I think it's any sexual act that you're paying for.
Yes, but there is a workaround.
Is it like soaking or like
soaking? No,
yeah.
no. You film it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can film at that point. You can be like, we're just making.
So porn is just. It's just prostitution.
Bingo. Bingo. Yeah. I mean, pretty much, but like that's how you can get around it.
We still need to talk to like Michael Bay about like filming some porn.
You think like each time it gets slammed in, it's just an explosion?
Yeah.
Bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Be a great climax. I've heard that people like there actually has been like really good porn that's been created, like
into like a parody.
No, like some like not a director like Michael Bay, but like someone has just taken it very seriously and they've made like an actual story out of it. And I've heard that like for watching purposes, it takes you out. Like it's not, because like with porn, it's just like you're getting in there and getting out. It's never like,
well, yeah.
No one.
If there's a story and then people are just getting smashed, then you're like, that really took a turn right there. Like they were just climbing this mountain and now they're just fucking going at it. Right now.
Yeah, imagine that. Like you click on a video and you're watching this video of like these people like climbing up Mount Everest, and then they get to the top and then they just start fucking.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I've been watching this for 30 minutes. I forgot what I was watching.
Yeah, exactly. Like I remember, I mean, trust me, I knew what I was clicking on whenever I did it. But it was whenever like on your TV, whenever you had like Stars or HBO for like the weekend or whatever, there would be like, there was like the channel like called Max or something. Not Max. Fuck, what was it called? It was something like that. It was something like Max or something. I can't remember.
Oh fuck. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because it was like right around the channels of like HBO and Stars and whatever. But it was like it wasn't Showtime.
Was it Spike?
No, Spike was the dude channel.
I do remember vividly putting Spike on in the middle, like at like 10 o'clock at night, and then waking up and seeing boobs on my TV whenever I was younger.
Yeah, but they were like wet t-shirt contest boobs. Like I remember like watching and clicking on. It was like, I mean, those types of pornos never really have the best of names, but it was like a Lord of the Rings parody or something, so it was probably like Lord of the Butt Plug or something. It was something stupid like that. And I can remember like
Lord of the Butt Plug sounds like a good
and I can remember like them like walking through, like they're like literally like cloaked up and whatnot, but of course like they just had bikinis on, and I was like, and they just went on this big thing, and then just out of nowhere it would just hard cut to them just fucking with this weird music on the background, and I was like, that's a weird plot.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I was younger, I was like, oh, I'm getting this for free. But then at the same time, I was like,
that's not realistic.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I mean, I just think they're taking this a little too far, you know? Like, it just didn't make sense to me. But, like, I don't know. They got some weird storylines. I've never understood either, like, them making parodies of, like, real movies. Like, I mean, I guess I get it. But, like, I've seen that they made a Lord of the Rings one, you know. For sure they've made a Harry Potter one. I don't think I've ever actually seen it, but for sure. Definitely a Star Wars one. I've seen a Star Wars one. Not like seen it, but I've seen like a clip of it.
It's okay.
And I've you don't have to explain yourself. I get it. I've seen it too.
Yeah. It's in my favorites.
Yeah, it's on my Netflix queue. But I mean, it's just so weird. It's so Pirates of the Caribbean. That was one of them.
I don't know how much of those I've actually watched. I'm sure I have, like in my younger days, like oh yeah, like I'm gonna see Batman fuck Catwoman for sure.
Yeah, but exactly, yeah.
But thinking about it now, it is weird. But like, I guess you could say that about all porn.
That's true. I do think porn is weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
you heard it here first.
Yeah. Well, no.
Porn is weird.
It really is. Like, when you really sit down and think about it, like, if you're about to get your jollies off and you're like, hell yeah, let's do it. And you really think about what you're watching, you're like, I'm flaccid. Like, something's just weird about it. Like, these people are just paying to do this. It's like, whatever, they got a job. I'm still going to watch it. There's a cameraman there. And they're probably like, this is probably their 5th take or something. And then they're just saying, do it. And I'm like, this is weird. There's just something so strange about it.
Do you ever think about the things that, well, did you ever feel like when you were younger that that's what sex was?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I feel like it's a normal thing. Like that. Like that's what guys like think. And you like everyone thinks that like the girl is gonna be absolutely fucking screaming their head off, which I feel like there are some people that like really sell it because their boyfriends like want them to, because like they're like whenever, I guess I can't really use my roommate, or not my roommate, my fuck. That means different things. The person that lived below me when I lived in Cleveland.
Definitely not your roommate.
No.
And some would even call that a neighbor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
fucked when this episode comes
She's not going to listen to it. It's fine.
Look, we'll definitely, as soon as we get out of here, as soon as this is done, I'll be like, man, this is a great episode. Yeah. You guys both should watch.
Right. Yeah. Can't wait for that. We're going to have a discussion later.
Yeah.
Well,
oh, God.
I was going to say, like, my neighbor, like, it wasn't even her. It was the dude that was making, like, all the noises. But then my roommate and I went on a little trip to an amusement park for her birthday. And we stayed in a hotel. And there was a fucking girl going for it. Like, she was, like, giving her all. She was selling, like, the enjoyment for sure.
Maybe it was prostitution.
It could have been.
Yeah.
But do you ever think about the different things that happen in porn, and you think about doing that in real life? Like like with or without your significant other. Like, because like in some worlds you don't want to do something weird like that to.
Oh, okay. I'm
trying to I don't want to say it because it's weird.
Well, no. I get it.
But it's not even like me saying it about your roommate or my roommate. It's just like
in general.
Yeah.
No, I get it. No, there's definitely been like. Okay. When you're in high school,
imagine coming on someone's face. It just feels so weird. We're skirting around it, Isaac. I gotta.
I was thinking of like thousands of other things, and then you're just like, come on. This is the one we're all thinking about.
That's the one that I think of that's like, this is weird. Like, there is not a world that I live in that, like, in any of my sexual partners that I have thought, this is it. This is what I want to do. Because, like, you're, like, imagining the position that you're in, like, whether it's, like, they're on top of you or you're there, like, it's just a weird thing to do.
It's a weird thing. I mean, you're Simba-ing somebody, you know what I mean? Like, you're pretty much just the circle of life, you know what I mean? That's pretty much what you're doing to somebody, but with your junk. So, like, I get it, but like that, I really think that's just what it is. It's just like like I'm gonna say it, but there's got to be a better word, but like it's like a possession thing, you know what I mean? Like,
oh, absolutely.
It's like this is mine, you know? Like it's like somebody like stickering a fruit, you know, like and selling it and be like, this is what's the fucking banana brand or something like.
I lost you on this.
You know what I mean? Like there's like the little
I got you with you saying like it's like saying this is mine, but
yeah,
like,
it's just like I said, it's almost like labeling it. It's like labeling like a brand of chips. You're like, I know that's Lay's because they got the Lay's logo. I know that's because
I know that's glazed because that's got
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I really think it's that. But like But no, I do get what you mean. That there is some wild stuff, I think, and you're just like, I don't think that person even feels good after that.
Yeah, I think if you happen to do anything that you see on porn, and I feel like there's part of you that's like, oh, that's it.
Yeah,
I don't feel like this was hot.
Well, that or you probably just are like. That's in my conscious now. Mm-hmm. That like I was like,
hey, I have this
let's do that, and
like,
then
this is in my memory now.
Yeah, and that's like that was not good.
I feel like it's always like you watch it and you're thinking it. Like if you're watching porn, you're thinking like, oh, I want to do this, and in that moment, it's like it's the post nut clarity. Like you realize afterwards, like I definitely don't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're like it. But that's just it. Like, and when you're watching it, you're just like, fucking people are going at it. They're having the gayest times right now. You know what I mean? Like, they're literally having a gay old time. And then you're just like, yeah, like it's literally that. You're just like, well, it's got to work. I mean, this person's screaming their gourd out right now. But yeah, in reality, it's just, they get paid $2,500 for that, and they're like, whatever.
How much do you think porn stars get paid?
They gotta make a lot, right?
I mean, if they're attractive, because like, it's not very often that you see a dude. It's like even when you see a dude, they're like getting their face blurred out or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if you're an attractive female, you're probably getting in a lot of videos, and then people like if they're clicking on your videos, like. You want to make more of those? I mean, fuck.
the thought is coming though. Speaking of cum, the thought is coming to me though that honestly, I think guys do have it easier in the porn world for sure because they can they can go forever. It doesn't matter what the dude looks like. Really doesn't. If the guy's got a fucking hog. He's got it. He's got many years of it. Fucking what was it going? Ron Jeremy, guy was he looked like a drug addict Mario practically. You know what I mean? But he still got it. And he still went to town. But so like the guys they're good. Girls though, if they I guess this is such a weird thing. If they get in early enough though. They have a good trajectory. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look at Kim Kardashian.
Well, yeah. Yeah, if something like that happens, you just do that and then you become famous.
Exactly.
But no, for porn stars, if they get in early enough, everyone's like, oh my God, she's super attractive when she's young. And she just goes on, easily they're like, that's a hot mom.
Yeah.
There you go. So I think... come to think about it, porn world. How do I want to state this? My God, they might be like, but no, maybe that is the one place that would have like ageism.
No, absolutely
it's
not.
It's porn. What am I talking about? No.
Yeah, there's people will look for everything.
That's it. I think the porn world might be the most sound job environment in the world.
I'm gonna start sending out some applications.
Oh, your roommate's definitely gonna have to listen to this one now.
Yeah. What do you? Well, I mean, we still have to. I told her that I wanted to put an episode of Friendship and Stupidity on Pornhub.
Yeah.
And she refused. She said, absolutely not.
Why not? People put their Minecraft Let's Plays on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you can't, I think I've talked about this before, you can't just like go on Pornhub and like type in Minecraft, because that's putting you down a rabbit hole that you don't want to see.
For sure.
Because I remember we talked about it, of like just having, like you just seeing random like video games with nothing to do with sex.
Yeah.
And you can't find those unless they just show up. And they just...
It's funny.
It's funny. It's hilarious.
It's absolutely funny.
So, like, if that's what it takes for us to get put on the map, then, like... I mean, again, Kim Kardashian did it.
Yeah.
And if Kim Kardashian can do it, then...
So can Friendship and Stupidity.
The world is ours.
Oh, fuck.
And I was
gonna say, I think we're getting close to the end. I think
there was a lot that we were about to say, but then we went off on tangents.
It's normal. But if I remember correctly, Andy, I know we've talked about this, and we won't go into too much because, like I said, we're about to end. Our next episode, that should be our morning coffee, right?
It very well could be.
I think it might, because I think we tossed around the idea a little bit. So I think that might be our first morning coffee.
Yeah, and I'll have to look at it, but I think our next episode is going to be our year episode.
No way! So it's gonna be a double whammy.
It'll be a double whammy.
Oh my God! So it's gonna be the most. Oh my God, that's such a chaotic story, though, for such a calm thing. Oh my God, we might have to push the morning coffee. It's just such a chaos. I don't know. It might fit. I don't know.
Well, what story are you thinking?
We said we were going to talk about the Jack story.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure when we were going to talk about that, but yeah, that sounds.
Yeah, or were we going to wait until it's fully legal?
No, I think it's fine. I think it'll be about that time.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember us. That was what we talked about last time before we both got sick. So, oh my God, we're gonna have to have some discussions here, Andy. Yeah. We're definitely gonna have to have some discussions. So,
big milestone.
Yeah,
doing this for a year.
Yeah, is it? Just the podcast, though. Yeah, because we haven't been doing the video for that long.
Right.
But just the podcast, which then our friend... Fuck, I'm going to keep going on this tangent. But my one friend, Logan, told us that really cool fact about podcast, which we'll have to get that next time because I don't remember. But yeah, we're going to be doing this for a whole year. Can you believe that?
I know. It's weird.
That's wild. That's wild.
It's been a wild ride. I feel like we can get emotional on the next one.
If it's gonna be a morning coffee, we can.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Just cry it out in the morning.
Well, yeah. I mean, we could do the morning coffee one, and then we can do the Jack story next.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. We can definitely do that. Yeah. Well, everyone, get ready for it. It's gonna be probably the most calm episode we're ever gonna have.
God, I love that.
You just had to throw it in.